You do Tank Lip. Yo, what's up? We're gonna get on some philosophical shit right now. Remember the other day I did the blog about attachments versus something. What was it? It was like, fucking drawing a blank. It was like attachments versus. Fuck. Let's just go fucking see. What was it? Attachments. Now this is bothering me. Okay, so sorry, y'all. We got Ryan Catherine. You are so beautiful. Like, you're hot. Do you realize? Like, I've actually like seen your profile, and like I was like afraid to say anything, and you are like so fucking hot. And I guess this is the perfect opportunity to just tell you, which is actually a great segue into today's blog. But just bear with me as I try to figure out. I can't even segue into today's blog because I forgot what the other day's blog was about. But I just want you to like specifically know I have two crushes right now. One is on Dutola and the other one is on you, Ryan Catherine Gilmartin. Like, so please leave a comment because I love you. And it's just not like just on some emotional love. Like physically, I think you're fucking sexier than like anything else. You already left it. You're not even tuned in right now. I wish you had stayed tuned in because you might have heard that I was like fucking crushing on you on like some serious shit. So the blog was attachment versus acceptance. It shouldn't have been attachment versus. Actually, I guess should have been. It should have been attachment and acceptance, because acceptance of like the things you shouldn't like attach to, or like basically I was saying like frustration comes from when you're like attached to something and it doesn't go your way, but like correlating to that, like if you have acceptance to just deal with whatever doesn't go your way, then you're no longer having an attachment to it being a certain way. So like it does work hand in hand. I don't know. Maybe it was right to be titled attachment versus acceptance. So anyway, that's what that was. Sorry, I had an OCD. It was bothering me that I couldn't remember why. What was it? Attachment versus what? So today, like it's gonna be about care. And like remember, I've been doing like a lot of stuff about how thinking, is like a bridge to freedom, or it could be like a trapdoor to slavery. So not only are we on some philosophical stuff that always will involve thinking, but specifically like certain types of thoughts we've been getting into lately. And so this is very important. Now, I'm going to use myself as an example to like make the point, the punchline. Now, at the point of my life when I gave too much thought and care to what other people thought about me, were thinking about me, and I cared way too much about that, like, and that oddly enough, that was a time when like my circle was big. Like you talk about like the circle of friends and shit, and I did that track In a Circle, which basically talked about like at the point when I had like a large circle of friends, like I wasn't even my best friend to myself. And when that circle got real thin, it was at that point that because no one else was there to distract me, I actually became my best friend or had to rely upon myself, and therefore became my best friend, actually made better choices. Okay? And oddly enough, when the circle was thick or big and I had a lot of friends, it was at that time when there's so many people around that you're catering to those affairs of others, like, and their agendas, because you're like, in a way, how could you not? There are so many people and their needs and wants and their thoughts. It dictates. Like, you don't always do what the best thing you need to do for yourself because there are so many Think about it. 10 people that and their agendas distracting you from focusing on what you really need to do, versus there's zero friends in that circle, then you get to do whatever the fuck you want. And you no longer have to care about what anyone thinks because they're not even there, like as an extreme version, not to wish upon that anyone's circle is that thin. This has been painful. But like today, there are a couple of tangents to like the main punchline and theme. So like just bear with me, okay, on some Tank Lip shit. The main theme I'm getting to is like when I thought too much, when I gave too much care to what other people were thinking about me, okay, gave that clout to them, it actually dictated, okay, my own thoughts and decisions. Once my life transcended into the moments where I didn't care about what anyone thought, okay, that's when shit started getting better. Now I could argue how shit has become hell-like and like really bad. But like that Inner Circle song, in a way I become my best friend and also the best version of myself as I've strayed from that circle. Okay, that inner circle. And no longer were the distractions there. Okay, and when you can focus on yourself, like with that type of level, like you become the best version of yourself because you're no longer catering to like what others think. So that's kind of like along the theme of today. At the point when I didn't give a fuck about everyone and anyone, I could give a fuck about like what 100 different people's thoughts were about me. When I arrived at that point, that whatever choices I was making, my thoughts that allowed me to enter those choices, okay, and guide myself, because I was able to do that because I didn't give a fuck if a million people fucking disagreed. And then the main point or punchline to this is when you can arrive at that point where you don't give a fuck of what 5 million people, if they could all be against you and you don't give a fuck if that's the case, that 5 million people are against your thought and your choice and the thought that went into your choice, when your thoughts arrive at that point and you make choices based on yourself and what you truly believe in rather than what others are dictating from what they believe in, guess what? If you could do that and not give a fuck about 5 million people and you've arrived at that point, you can do that with any moment of your life, with anyone. Because what that says is if you could do it with everyone, you could do it with any one individual. You could make the choices to not give a fuck. And that's not to like get reckless and say like, I'm going to go run that red traffic light because I don't give a fuck if a police officer is going to give me a ticket. That's not where I'm going with this. And I'm not going to give a fuck if when I run that red light, I crash into another car and kill somebody or cause serious injury. That's not where I'm going with this. It's not to not give a fuck about what others think about you, like on that level. It's to like follow your true self, to really have that level of identity with yourself, to love yourself so much that your choices are guided by the thoughts that you believe in rather than caring what are the other thoughts of other people and what they're going to think about you. And when you could get on that massive type scale where there are there are 5 million people, to like really make this like very emphasized, to like make the point. If you can arrive there, and I have, okay, and I'll prove to you that I've arrived there. When you could
arrive at that point where you don't give a fuck about 5 million people and what their thoughts are about you, that is also to say, if you could arrive on that massive type scale, that also says you don't give a fuck about what any one person thinks about you at any given moment. That always you are, the most care is the care you're giving to your own thoughts, not what someone's going to think about you because of your thoughts. Okay, and now we just tangent into another thing that's real deep right now. It's not even just your choices and what people are going to think about your choices. It's not caring about what other people's thoughts are going to be about your thoughts. And to prove that, okay, I entered my previous blog earlier today was on some politics shit. Okay, and finally in my evolution of arriving at not giving a fuck about what other people's thoughts are about me, whether they it comes into like, if you care about what someone's thoughts are about you, you're giving too much attention to whether they like you or dislike you. Politics is that real thin line. A lot of times people say, don't get into that, because if someone's, political views are different, they are now going to dislike you. And here I am, Tank Lip the musician, trying to build a fan base as an entertainer, like artist development, like reach out and get more people into me, not disperse them away and rub them the wrong way where they're no longer that cult following or the base following me. And even with that said, I've continued this evolution of not giving a fuck about what are others' thoughts about me, my choices, and their thoughts about my own thoughts. And so I segued into siding with the Republican Party and Trump and gave my observations on some hypocrisies and the ludicrous nature of how I see like the Democrats, even knowing that Democrats could turn around and probably say equal shit about Republicans, and then about me for supporting Republicans, about not siding with Democrats. And guess what? That same thing that like I started this blog with, where I'm like, I don't give a fuck if 5 million people disagree about me. That's to say, at any one given moment, any choice I want to make, I'm making the choice that Jason Lip or Tank Lip wants to make. It's never dictated by any one person and what their thoughts about me might be, because I don't give a fuck about 5 million people. And if I could get there where I don't give a fuck if 5 million people against me, trust me, I don't care if one person is against me. And when you get to that high level, that high plane of like independence and freedom, that's where your thoughts become a bridge to freedom. The same way I was talking the other day, it could be like a trapdoor to slavery or imprisonment. And certainly some of my thoughts are stinking, but guess what? It's no longer me against people. That's Tank Lip trying to conquer himself, which will be my ultimate battle. I've heard some people talking recently about when you conquer yourself, you can do anything. And that's where I'm stuck. I have to still conquer myself. But in regards to anyone else, I have evolved past that. So, just to say on some shit and like, just to prove it, like I said, where before maybe my evolution had not gotten there. Maybe I had put too much attachment into building the Tank Lip empire into something. I was still being careful about maybe I will piss some people off. And I placed too much care into what their thoughts were about me. And I might not have done a blog that got into politics, which is always that thin line where some people are going to be with you and some people are going to definitely be against you, because there's usually just two sides. It swings only two ways unless you're an independent, and that's really neither here nor there because then that's just independent from that, the whole point of this blog. So earlier today I did a blog, 16 minutes, about some politics shit, and that just kind of proves the point that when I arrived at a point where I separated any attachment to what others thought about me, I didn't have any goals. I can't get frustrated now because I've already accepted that there are going to be people that I rub the wrong way with that blog, but I didn't let it dictate just because some people might dislike me, prevent me from meeting my goals of just making that blog. I wanted to blog about some political shit. It's relevant. It's current news about today. And as an entertainer, a person that blogs on shit, I feel like this is just very relevant stuff, and I wanted to put my 2 cents in. And if I gave too much rank or clout to what others thought, maybe I never would have made that blog today. So attachments, okay, in this sense, is a little separate from acceptance. It has to do with goals and meeting your goals when your thoughts, okay, are at that point. When you relinquish a need of what you need others' thoughts to be about you, and you only care about what your thoughts about yourself are. Anyway, Tank Lip, peace.